amazing grace of God. It is an invasion of the sovereign love of God, penetrating the gap of darkness with the overwhelming power of His marvelous light. It bridges the gap between man and God. Take a journey through the amazing grace of God with your host, Sarah Abraham, as she shares the compelling stories of those who walked in His covenant and have overcome by the amazing grace of God. Join us weekdays this fall for Amazing Grace with Sarah Abraham.
Welcome to Amazing Grace. I'm your host, Sarah Abraham. This week we're going to be talking about autism. You know, every day we bring you new and inspirational program that chronicles the journey of amazing people who have overcome adverse situations, hurdles, and people who are helping people in the community to overcome and make their life better. And today we are joined by two amazing, handsome young men. Kelly, I consider you young too. Kelly, who is the principal of Launch Academy, and their star student, Austin, don't let me butcher your last name, but it is Pridey?
Yes.
All right, I got it. So before we start, I'll let you speak a little bit about autism. Tell our audience, what is autism?
Autism is a developmental disorder, and at some point, in layman's terms, of course, there's the official definition, but in layman's terms, at some point, kids' development stops in a certain area. Most of the time, it's speech, and there will be speech delays and repetitive movements that doctors will or parents will pick up on, and then a diagnostician or a doctor will recommend that the child be looked at by an autism diagnostician, and then there's a 2-day diagnostic evaluation that the child will go through, and
Like all the tests and things like that.
Right.
And just like ADHD and things like that, is there any medication that autistic children are prescribed?
There's not one medication. An interesting thing about autism is there's, I can't remember the percentage, so I don't want to say it, but a higher occurrence of comorbid disorders, which means a child with autism is very likely to be diagnosed with ADHD or OCD or ODD. So usually medication is a tricky process, and one that should be done with a psychiatrist, but there's usually multiple things that they're trying to get under control in addition to the autism symptoms.
Austin, tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
I'm 19. I was at Launch for about 4 years, I think, and after that I graduated to the vocational program, and right now I'm working full-time at a department store.
That is wonderful, working full-time.
Yes, ma'am.
And when a lot of people are saying they can't find a job,
Yeah.
you were able to land a job that's full-time. How old were you when you were first diagnosed?
I was 3 years old.
3 years old. So your parents saw something that, led them to believe that you probably need to be tested?
They did. I mean, they said I was more shy when I was younger and everything, and I was kind of a troublemaker too, I guess.
Troublemaker?
Yeah.
You can't be. Austin, no way. You're a troublemaker. You don't fit in not even one criteria for troublemaker. Unless you're a great actor.
No, not too much.
So when they first took you to the doctor and doctor diagnosed you with autism, did you go to like a special school or?
No, I think it was a hospital, actually.
Oh, I see.
I'm not quite sure because it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Ago.
You didn't attend a hospital for school.
Yeah.
The diagnostic was done
they
at a
took me
hospital.
there.
And then what kind of school did you attend?
For a while, I attended a public school, and that didn't go too well because they really weren't too educated in exactly what autism is.
Okay.
So
they were not trained.
No, so they put me in all special ed classes and kind of held me back and everything. And I wanted to learn all the normal stuff, but they said, no, you're not ready to learn this. And I actually remember one time I said, no, let me try this, let me try and learn it. So they gave me the piece of paper and they finally explained it to me, and it was multiplication, I think, when I was in grade school. And I just started doing it, writing everything down. They're like, we never had anybody in the special ed class that did it that fast. Yeah. I'm like, I told you I could do it. You just had to give me a chance.
See, you're confident too. You're a confident kid. You knew what you could do.
Yeah.
So at what grade did you went to Launch Academy?
Well,
After public school,
Yeah.
you were homeschooled for a while.
You were homeschooled.
Yeah, I moved here from Kansas, and my mother homeschooled me for about 2 months, and after that, for about 3 years, she did not homeschool me at all.
So you were just at home but not studying,
No.
not doing any schoolwork.
I was not, and I didn't have too much interaction with other kids at that time, so that really held me back. So after those 3 years, she actually left me and my father, and that's when I went to a school that Richard was teaching at.
Tell me about it. How did you feel when your mom left?
It was pretty hard on me, and it was hard on my dad.
It was kind of out of the blue, right?
Yeah, it was really random. She was bipolar though, so and she was not taking her medication as well. So it was random. It was out of the blue, and all I really had then was my parents. So it was hard on me.
It was hard on you.
Yeah.
Did you blame yourself for your mom leaving?
Some parts, yes.
A little bit of
but
guilt?
I think that's just because I was young then, and it's kind of a natural thing to do. But afterwards, it's really not my fault, And I started to see, what was actually happening.
And I met Austin when he was 13, kind of probably right after that experience.
Right after.
And so he had just come off 3 years of just being at home and not having friends or social interaction, and then his mom leaving. So when I met him at 13, he was really he had a very sad appearance, and he would, I think you were having a lot of sleep issues at the time too. So he would go to school, or he would come to school, he would do about 3 hours of work, and then he'd just need to sleep for 2 or 3 hours.
So he was not sleeping well at night.
Right. And I don't know if that was tied to depression or exactly what was going on at that time.
I was really stressed at the time and going through a lot of stuff. And then I had to go, to a school, which I really didn't want to after 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh great, I have all these people teaching me. And when I first saw Richard, I'm like, oh, he's just another teacher. I really don't like this guy too much.
What was your first impression when you met Richard as
Well,
a teacher?
Actually, I'm just like, oh, he's just another teacher, because usually that's how I saw, teachers. They really weren't there to try and help me. They're just like, here's your work, do it, And I saw Richard was trying to help and everything, and that meant a lot to me. But actually, when I really connected with him, he's like, all right, we're going to do some music lessons. And he sat down, pulled out his guitar, and started playing. And he's like, okay,
That's
and
cool.
he's absolutely amazing. And I'm just like, this guy's going to teach me guitar. I'm like, I'm good for this. I'm in.
I have a undergraduate my minor was in music.
Wow.
So I'd studied a lot of music. So I could see Austin's eyes light up. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
What is it that I've seen other children, autistic children, they somehow have a keen ear for music?
Yeah, I would say almost every student in our whole school has that. I don't.
They're somehow
I don't know why that
musically
is.
inclined.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I know that some of our students have sensory issues. Okay, so like normal touch can feel painful. Sounds, they're very like they would hear these lights, and so maybe the sensory, the ability to hear more clearly helps. I don't know. I know for a lot of my students who are very musically inclined, because they were in similar situations as Austin, a lot of kids actually have been like placed inappropriately in a special ed class and ended up homeschooling for a while, or being in a situation where they didn't have a lot of social contact. And
Or
so,
parents who don't understand what autism is or how to
sure,
help.
sure,
And I
sure.
think in Launch Academy, maybe you should start some program educating the parents
Yeah.
how to handle the special needs child.
Yeah, yeah. There's been a lot of talk about that. There's an organization called Texana that has very good parent training programs.
Do you have a
But
branch of Texana in the Houston area?
yes, yes. There's several. There's one in Sugar Land, one in Rosenberg.
Wow.
So and they have very good parent training. But I was going to say about the music, I think kids end up being isolated, and so to fill the time, maybe turn to music. And that is a very a place to find refuge, you know. And so I think that helps with being musically inclined.
Austin,
So-
how was this coffee shop experience and this job training experience? How has that helped you?
Well, I actually went to the lawn business when I was at launch as well. Actually, Richard started that before
How
he
old were you
started.
when you were introduced to the lawn business?
I was actually 14.
14,
Yeah,
okay.
so I started working the lawn business, and that was kind of my first job, and I really didn't know, what to do or anything, but Richard started to train me and everything, and sooner or later we were knocking lawns out, one after another, and I would really say that helped me a lot to get where I'm at, just inspiring me with my work ethics, and everything, and actually getting the job done right, how people, want their lawns.
The
not just
customer
slacking
service
off.
and
Yeah.
talking to the people and
And when
getting
we
their feedback.
yeah, when we first started it, we didn't have, any customers, so we actually went around neighborhoods knocking on door to door saying, we're starting a lawn business, would you like your lawn, mowed, giving an estimate of how much it costs. So, that was a good experience too.
I'm amazed at your vocabulary. Your vocabulary is pretty good.
Yeah.
Even I have to think sometime for the right word. He's got a natural ability. And does Launch Academy has something to do with, like you said, public speaking and giving the children the confidence and
Yeah, we've done, Austin has led open house, talked about a curriculum or a piece of the program. So I'm sure that helped. But I think once, going back to when he was 13 or 14, once he really realized that I was there because I wanted to be there, this wasn't just a job, and then we had the music thing, he really started communicating a lot. And I would say one of the rules that we started out with that first year that I had him was nobody goes home until your work is done. And so I think everyone hated me at first before for that rule, because they were coming off of situations where they weren't really didn't have to do that much. But then once they kind of settled into it and realized the amount of work expected was reasonable, then I think they started changing. And once Austin opened up, I realized he was not nearly as disabled as he came across at first because he was so stressed and had come off such a hard time. But I think you were 15 when you started in the lawn business, and he did one summer, because then the next year you volunteered at the school,
Yeah, I did.
and that was the year that he was 16, and then at the end of that summer, do you want to talk about that?
Well, actually, I was 15 when I moved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So you
I
My
was
timeline.
15
Yeah.
when you started the lawn business?
No, I was 14.
14.
He's just gonna mess
So
up.
My
15,
timeline is
Yeah,
mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah, but
What kind of responsibilities did you have when you volunteered at the school? What all did you do?
I was assistant teacher actually
wow.
for I think it was
Younger
like,
students.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what grade was it? Like third, fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, around there. And I volunteered for a summer there, and
So did the kids listen to you?
yeah, they listened pretty well actually.
did.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a summer teaching and camp
Yeah.
schedule. So, yeah,
That's good. And yeah, Richard was talking about, how you get an allowance. Did you earn allowance pretty good?
Yeah,
Your dad
I
paid you?
did. Yeah, I got some money from the lawn business, my father said, Richard's starting a lawn business, I was working before that age, and so was your grandfather. He's like, so you need to go work, I'm like, okay, fine, Dad. So I went in, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would.
That's good.
I had a lot of fun doing it.
So how long you been working for Kohl's?
I've been working there a year this month.
A year.
Yeah.
When you started living on your own with your roommate, were you a little bit afraid, a little bit scared if you can do everything yourself?
Yeah, of course I was. And, I wanted to do it, though. That's the thing, because I know I could. And, it was definitely a big change, but
So did you call Richard a lot?
not,
Well, she doesn't know about the previous 2 years.
yeah, well,
The thing that happened when Austin was 15 at the end of that second summer volunteering was his dad passed away.
yeah.
And his dad was his whole provider, and his dad took care of him and his elderly grandparents. And so he died of a heart attack
Yeah, he had
at 45.
a heart attack, and they actually didn't revive him on time. So they revived him, I think, 4 times, and finally, when we got to the hospital, he was completely brain dead. So my whole family came down, and everything didn't go too well with them, and I kind of stepped up at that time, and everybody was all breaking down.
So who is your legal guardian now?
Well, you're 19,
Yeah, I'm
so
19. So.
he's a legal adult now, but
No,
for
but
2 years.
even though he's autistic, he can be a legal adult. No, he
Yeah.
does not need a guardian.
No.
No.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But for 2 years, from 16 to 18, I was his legal guardian.
Yeah.
So he moved in with us and continued going to school and managing everything. And there were certainly hard times and good times, and then so that was, and then my wife and I were pregnant with our second. And Austin was 18, and he was kind of talking about wanting to get some independence and get a job. And so I said, well, the rooms are filling up, buddy. And it seems like a good time.
Good time for the transition.
Yeah, would this be something you think you're ready for? And he said, yeah, I really do.
Austin, when I said you're a star, I didn't know all this. But you are an amazing person. A normal person with no anything attached will not be able to go through a divorce. How old were you when your mom left?
I was 13.
13. Oh, what a crucial age. Then 2 years later, 15, your dad, who was your provider, your supporter, everything, quickly, with no warning, he leaves. And today you are sitting and being, you know, independent, holding on a job for more than a year, managing on yourself. You know, this is what Amazing Grace is all about. We bring you these kind of journeys like Austin. Amazing, amazing. And I know there's God's hand has to be on you too. I mean, I give you all the credit and Richard, most of the credit, but I think it's a little more than that. And I am so proud to have met you. And you are an example to many of those couch potatoes who say that, oh, my mom didn't put enough chocolate chip in my cookie, that's why I'm like that.
Well, I mean, I really think, you know, even if you're labeled with a disability, the disability is what you limit it to. Because I say, if I can do everything that I'm doing and everything I went through.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, I say anybody can do it. I mean, I saw a program where they interviewed this guy, and he's actually mentally retarded, and he owns an entire restaurant.
Oh yeah, I read about that too.
Yeah, and I'm like, if this guy can do this, and if I can do what I'm doing right now, it's the disability is just what you limit it to.
And his restaurant is jam-packed.
I know.
And all he does, he just goes out there and greets every patron that walks in.
And
his menu is limited, but that's okay. People love to go to his restaurant.
Yeah, and he's so happy.
He's so happy.
And that's all you really need, you know?
Yeah, you are amazing. I think you are a poster child. Not a child anymore, but poster person for autism. You know, when parents, you know, have a child labeled with an autism, I mean, it's a big setback. It is.
It is.
Like somebody kicked you in the guts.
It held me back a lot in life, and it held me back in the schools. They said I couldn't do stuff. It held me back from my parents, you know, like, you know, the doctor said, you know, you'll never be able to do this in a job, never be able to handle money or operate a cash register. And they're calling me up there all the time.
I think you have more money in the bank than most of the kids your age.
Yeah, exactly. So
he pays his own cell phone bill. He pays to get to work, and he lives within walking distance of Kohl's.
So I walk there every day and get there 30 minutes early.
Oh, wow, see.
Yeah.
I should take a lesson from that. I'm just rushing into stuff, maybe 2 minutes to spare. 30 minutes early. Ah, that's amazing. And see, you're not on any government welfare.
No.
You're not standing in line for any handout.
No.
You're working your way like a real man. Hey, have a girlfriend yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No.
There's somebody watching there. There's there's this handsome guy with money in the bank. Beware of those girls, okay?
Oh, watch out for him.
What, 5 years from now, Austin, tell me, what do you want to become, or where do you want you to be?
You know, I'm not 100% sure.
You will be 24. You're 19 now, right?
Yeah. I definitely want to go back to school, you know, and do some of that. But I still want to be working because I love the work, you know. I always have this sense of accomplishment, you know, actually doing something. And the people I work with, I love them, you know. It's kind of like a family to me there.
So are you a cashier, or
I'm all over the
stock?
place. They have me everywhere.
He started in shoes.
Yeah, I started in shoes. They put me on the cash register. Then they put me in customer service. Then merchandising, and I'm just learning everywhere right now. So.
Which Kohl's do you work?
The Kohl's in Rosenberg right
Rosenberg.
now.
Brazos Town Center. Yeah.
Brazos Town Center. Yeah.
So Launch Academy, where is that located?
That is in New Territory.
New Territory.
Right off 99. So right across from the Randalls, and that Randalls is where the kids go to buy their food. So, yep.
And Randall is also in another wonderful institution.
They-
I kind of used to know the old owner. I
Okay.
think he sold it
Okay.
for
Okay.
some time. I mean, he used to live in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, so he was so much involved with a lot of charitable organizations and things like that. So, and I mean, it's just getting connected with people and like the awareness. If people
Right.
know, do you have any program where if there's an autistic child and he cannot afford the school fees, where some scholarships given or anything like that?
There, Hope for Three is doing a scholarship program right now, and I know they do scholarships for many schools. And there's just an application process that they would need to follow for Hope for Threes. But we also have our own scholarship program, and so there's an application that you can fill out. And
So is there like a fundraising or anything that your Launch Academy does?
no, it's a well, there are some. There are several people that have set up scholarships, or their families have set up scholarship funds when they pass, to go towards kids that attend the school there. So
We will put those numbers, Launch Academy's numbers, on the screen. So if you need more information about it, or how to get your child admitted, or how to get in touch with the
Get
great Richard
information.
Kelly,
Yeah.
yes, we will put that number. So call us for that information. We are so delighted that you decide to join us, and I know Austin's talking is so inspirational. And if you have a child in a similar situation, take a good look at Austin. This is what your child could be, or the child can do. He said he can do anything. So there's no limitation what autism. So, you know, when the doctor gives you that diagnosis, don't be depressed, don't be sad, but take charge. Do something about it. I'm Sarah Abraham, your host. Till next time, keep walking in the amazing grace of God.